All right, let's talk about a technological shift that is quietly brewing, one that could totally upend how we prove who we are online. We're talking about giving control of our personal data back to, well, us. And in doing so, it might just disrupt a multi-billion-dollar industry. Let's dig in.
So why do we even need such a radical change? Well, it all starts with a huge, gaping inefficiency right at the heart of our financial system. You know it as identity verification, but the banks call it Know Your Customer, or KYC.
Get a load of this number, $60 million. That's what the average bank spends every single year just on KYC. When you see a number that big for just one company, it's not just a sign of inefficiency. It's a blaring siren telling you the system is fundamentally broken.
Yeah, the current system is a mess for a few big reasons. It is painfully slow, which makes for a terrible customer experience. It's incredibly expensive, creating this massive operational headache for companies. And maybe the worst part? It forces businesses to create these giant centralized databases of our personal info, which are basically giant honeypots for hackers. The way we do things now just isn't cutting it.
But what if there was a better way? A new paradigm is emerging, and it's built on some really fascinating tech that's poised to solve this $60 million problem for good.
It all starts with something called a decentralized identifier, or a DID. The easiest way to think about it is like your own personal, permanent address on the internet that you and only you get to own and control. It's not handed out by Google or your government, you create it yourself. This is the bedrock of what people are calling self-sovereign identity.
Okay, so you've got your DID. Now what? Well, building on top of that are verifiable credentials, or VCs. Think of a VC like a digital stamp in your passport. A trusted source, like a bank or the DMV, digitally signs a credential proving something about you, say your age or citizenship, and you get to keep it safe in your own private digital wallet.
This quote just nails the whole concept perfectly. Right now, to prove who you are, a company has to make a call to some central database to check on you. In this new world, you just show them the proof you already have in your wallet. See the difference? You're not asking for permission anymore, you're just presenting a fact.
So how does this all come together in practice? I mean, what does this ecosystem actually look like when it's up and running?
There are three main players here. First, you've got the issuer. Think a bank or a government agency that creates and signs the credential. Second, you have the holder. That's you, who receives it and stores it. And third, you have the verifier, any website or service that needs to check your info. The key thing here is that you, the holder, are always in the middle, controlling exactly who sees your information and when.
Now, here's where it gets really cool. This is the secret sauce, privacy. It's all made possible by something called a zero-knowledge proof. It's a bit of cryptographic magic that lets you prove something is true without revealing the information itself. So you could prove you're over 21 without ever showing your actual birth date, or prove you're not on a sanctions list without revealing your name. It's verification without exposure, and it is a massive deal for digital privacy.
Okay, this tech isn't just a neat idea for computer scientists. It has absolutely profound implications for the market. When you change something as fundamental as identity, you change the entire economic equation of trust and security online.
I mean, the difference between the old way and the new way is night and day. In the old centralized world, big organizations hold all your data, creating these single points of failure just waiting to be hacked. In the decentralized world, you hold your own data, which gets rid of those honeypots and puts you back in the driver's seat.
And the numbers, wow. The numbers on performance are just so compelling. With this decentralized approach, the cost of fraud gets cut nearly in half. Corporate onboarding, a process that can drag on for weeks, is slashed to just a matter of days. And something as simple as logging in, it becomes way more reliable. We're talking huge, tangible gains across the board.
This chart really puts it into perspective. For every single dollar lost to fraud, the old systems pile on more than $4 in other costs. Decentralized identity can slash that by over 40%. That's not just a small tweak. That's a genuine game changer for how companies manage risk.
Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. A transition this massive is never simple. There are some very real, very significant roadblocks standing in the way of this becoming the new normal.
Yeah, you can't just flip a switch. There's a lot of friction here. For starters, regulators are still trying to wrap their heads around it all. Getting all the different systems to talk to each other is a huge technical challenge.
And you even have weird conflicts with existing privacy laws like GDPR, where the right to be forgotten clashes with the idea of a permanent, unchangeable record. These are the tough problems that have to get solved.
So, okay, with all those hurdles, what does the path forward actually look like? How do we get from where we are today to this new future?
The answer, really, is collaboration. This isn't something tech companies can just build in a garage. It's going to take the innovators, the regulators, and even civil liberties groups all working together. Things like regulatory sandboxes, which are basically safe spaces for companies to test these new models, are going to be absolutely crucial for building trust and ironing out all the legal wrinkles.
And that brings us to the one key question for anyone watching this space. When a regulator finally offers that safe harbor, which big financial institution is going to be the first one to jump in? Because whoever it is, that first major bank to pilot this technology in a sanctioned, safe way, that will be the signal. That's the moment the old way of doing KYC really starts to end and the floodgates could finally open. This is not financial advice.